I want your take on Michigan and UCLA and just kind of UCLA as a whole and what Mick Cronin has done with that program. Because my take, and I'll make this quick. My take is that what they've done during this tournament, I think, is a credit to the players on that roster and the shot making of Jules Bernard and the playmaking of Tiger Campbell and the things that Jaime Jaquez and Johnny Juzang have done in terms of just being able to make plays when they need plays and be able to score when they need buckets. But I think the mental toughness that he's instilled has been something that we never saw at UCLA under Alford. And I mean, the idea that they can lose Daishen Nix, they can lose Chris Smith, they can get their ass kicked in the first game of the season. They can go through everything that they were down by 11 at halftime to Michigan State in the playing game, right? Yeah. They've taken so many punches this year, and they're still up here fighting. Like I think that the mental toughness that he's established with this team and the culture that he's developed there is something that we haven't seen at UCLA in a long time.
Yeah, look, I mean, I lived out there. I was there for most of the Alford era, right? I think I just wasn't there for the first year, maybe. And a lot of these kids that he recruited, I'm talking specifically about Jules Bernard. They were in the mix for Johnny Juzang whenever Johnny decided to go to Kentucky. Jake Kyman, I think this applies to. There are a few others I'm trying to think of, like Jalen Hill is another one before Jalen ended up starting.
Singleton was a Alfred kid, right?
Yeah, he was. David was a little bit different in terms of just like who he was, but like these are kids that specifically had questions about toughness. Like it was like SoCal kid, like grew up in the sun the whole time, all that bullshit that you hear, right? About Southern California basketball players. And I do think that under Alford, to an extent, there wasn't as much accountability, maybe is the way to put it. And with Mick, the difference is that he holds everyone accountable at all times, no matter what the deal is, right? Like you're never going to be able to not be locked in with Mick Cronin. And I think that that's exactly right, Rob. Like I think that he instilled just an enormous amount of toughness, physicality, and just a mental approach that's a little bit different. I will also say, like, I think Jaime Jaquez is the dude. Like on this team.
Yes. Love him.
He was committed. He was committed before Mick got the job. But Jaquez, if you ever watched him on the AAU circuit, like he was playing on like Jalen Green's AAU team and was this like 6'6" center who just like went into the post and like posted guys up and grabbed rebounds and was just super productive at all times. He was everything that a Mick Cronin player is. And I wonder if, say, Alford had gotten another year, if Jaquez in his presence would have started to kind of bring that along as well, just from a leadership perspective. But like, I don't think they would have been anywhere near this successful under Steve Alford either. I think Mick Cronin's just an unbelievable coach and has done a great job. I mean, the thing is with these kids, like Rob, you mentioned it, like Johnny Juzang was a top 50 kid. Cody Riley was a top 50 kid. Tiger Campbell had ridiculous numbers of high major offers. Jaime Jaquez is, a top 100 kid. Jules Bernard was a top 100 kid who had crazy offers. David Singleton, I believe, was like somewhere like 100 to 125 or so. Like these are all really high level recruits that, Mick didn't necessarily get even at Cincinnati.
And we lost Sam.
You know what? To go off his point, that was crazy. To go off his point, the margin for error in this sport is so wild. The margin for error in this sport is so wild. Like, if UCLA were to miss the tournament, you have people in Westwood saying, was Mick Cronin the right hire? Was this, was that? Question after question. Whereas Mick Cronin, people forget because, again, Rob, we shut down last year. UCLA was one of the best stories in February, last college basketball season. We were seeing Mick Cronin and the Bruins really emerge. And I just think, like, everybody said when Mick Cronin got hired by UCLA, oh, he's not going to be able to bring them back to glory because he hasn't proven he can win in the NCAA tournament. Bullshit. The NCAA tournament is not the air. Like, yes, you have to prevail, and yes, you've got to win at some point, but you can't go off one bottle on the shelf and say, because Mick Cronin lost to Nevada in the NCAA tournament, that's it for him. Like, I'm done with him. He can't coach in the big game. Mick Cronin knows how to get a team ready for a big game. He's an old school coach. And to your point about Jaquez is kind of a throwback player. He's different. He plays the game old school. He makes the extra pass if he needs to, but he can hit the big time shot that you might see him pull and say, "Ooh, I wouldn't have taken that shot. Oh, it went in." So for me, UCLA is a terrific story, but it's an example of when you're down by double digits in the first four and you lose that game, you're saying, disappointing. You know, they're starting to go in the right direction compared to UCLA is back. Mick Cronin was a dream hire. Everybody knows where they stood. The majority of people, when Mick Cronin got hired by UCLA, were questioning that hire. And I got to credit the UCLA administration for making it, because Mick Cronin's latest example, this is to every school, Indiana included. You do not have to hire the sexy name. You have to hire someone who effing knows how to coach. Okay? You could go get the biggest name you've got. You got to find someone who's going to win you games. Okay, I'm looking at you, Bloomington. I don't think you got that this week. UCLA got someone that maybe people don't like. Mick Cronin's not the most likable guy, but Mick Cronin can coach his ass off. And he's doing it right now with this UCLA program after questions were around.